Welcome to Stock Talk. This is your host, Scott. Hope you had a good couple of days of trading. And this week we had a down week in our portfolio, but we were able to pocket a little money to make up for some of those high-priced Novavax shares we've been selling for a loss. So overall, we did a pretty good thing for the week as far as that goes. But the portfolio has dropped some more because of Novavax decline. So, but we're kind of at its mercy right now because we're holding a lot of shares of that, and as it drops, it's going to bring down the portfolios, unless we have some other things take over. And we've had some that have helped a little, but not enough to keep the portfolio from going down. So, but we did manage to make up for that loss on those shares. So that's what we wanted to do as far as pocketing money this week. So we're going to take a look at that as we look at our portfolio and talk about those things as well. And let's go ahead and jump over there now and take a look at those. Okay, you can see here, this is our portfolio. Top of the list is Moderna. Now, we don't own any of that. I just kind of watched that one, so I can kind of tell what it's doing compared to Novavax. And you can see they were both down today, so we won't bother with looking at Moderna, but that's one thing we do have on here. Sometimes during the week, I have it on there and just haven't removed it. So we'll leave that up there. Bitcoin is on here as well. Again, I do hold Bitcoin, but we don't really cover Bitcoin, but we do have some stocks that are tied to Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin is down now, but it was having a pretty good day. And the reason it did have a pretty good day here, we do have two stocks that does impact. Now, we do have on top of the list here is MSTR. And again, it's tied to Bitcoin. Its treasury is loaded with it. It's Michael Saylor's the CEO, and they have a lot of Bitcoin. So let's take a look at that Bitcoin that that MSTR that we did sell this week. So actually sold it yesterday. So let's take a look at the 5-day chart here. And you can see it was climbing pretty good yesterday. And we sold that at a 13.39% gain. That's 13.39% gain. We had held those shares for about a month, so not a bad return in 1 month for almost 13.5%. So we're pleased with that sale. And again, that's one of the ones that did help us make up for that Novavax loss that we took this week. Okay, but it's a good one. It's still going up, as you can see. Today it was up another 2%. We don't have it anymore, but we're still holding another one that is tied with Bitcoin. We'll talk about here in just a second. But this one's going to go as long as Bitcoin goes. So, but the reason I wanted to go ahead and sell is just in case there was a pullback. As you can see, these shares are $708 a share, and so it doesn't take a whole lot of shares to have a lot of money in this one. And so what I wanted to do is sell this one here to actually just kind of get some cash parked on the sideline to kind of build up that cash position that we have. And we were running around 30%. I think now we are at about 46% cash. So you can see what that sale of those stocks did today. It did bring that cash level up from probably 38, 39% to about 46. So that's a good spot to be. It's being half in and half out with this market the way it is. So we'll have an opportunity to buy if we have some more of those pullbacks like we had last week. One of the things I like to do is when we have those big pullbacks, especially if there's a couple in a row, that's where I jump in on that QQQ and buy those shares of QQQ or DIA or SPY, whichever one you think is going to go up the quickest. And usually right now it seems like the ones getting hit is the QQQ, and it turns around pretty quick in a day or so. So that's what we're going to wait for next week, and we could buy back into these shares as well, but probably not, because I do have another one that is tied to Bitcoin, and we'll just hang in there with that one for a little while. So let's go take a look at that one. It's one of our next ones on the list here is HUT. That's Hut 8 Mining. They're a Bitcoin miner, and you can see they're up 6% today. They had been holding back a little bit as MSTR was going up, so that's why I went ahead and sold MSTR. But this one had a really good day today. Now, I do have some options. Let me go ahead and put that on a 5-day chart for us. I do have some options in this one as well. But what we did is we went ahead and sold those options today. I had 13 options. They're way out to March of next year, and did pretty good on those. Those options actually made about anywhere from about 28% to 36%, I think it was, on those options that we've been holding for about a month as well. So still got some HUD options, but that's in my Robinhood account that I just started trading options this year. So I'm not really sharing a whole lot about options on this channel. I'm only buying calls right now anyway. I hadn't even experienced buying a put or selling a call or selling a put. But if you want to learn more about that, there's plenty of videos that you can pull up on YouTube to find out how you trade those options. But I'm keeping it real simple because I'm a slow learner. So we're just going to stick with the calls, and the calls are going to be fine because the calls are going to be, you're counting on something to go up, and right now as the market goes up, it's not going to be a big deal. But if the market pulls back and you've got some calls out there, you're going to be in trouble. So we try to get in and out of them pretty quick. But HUD 8 we do have a good bit of stock in this one here as well, as far as the share count goes. So we're still holding those. We did not sell those yet. We're up actually about 15%, 16% on them already. I should go ahead and take that money. But I really don't see Bitcoin slowing down here. And so I'm kind of going to hang on to something tied to Bitcoin in these IRAs, because you can't trade your Bitcoin in these IRAs. So you can trade things like HUT mining. So there's some other ones too that are tied to Bitcoin, but MSTR is probably one most loaded up there, and these, of course, Bitcoin miners are as well. But you can see here it's had a pretty good week. Started out the week right here around 9.10. It's up over $1.30 from there, so that's not a bad return. And you can see it did slow down this week a little bit, and that was a little, as Bitcoin was still going up, and so it kind of disappointed me there, but it did kind of make up for it today to come back up like it did. And we did unload some of those options. But we're going to hang on to the shares because we want to just have something tied to Bitcoin. All right, next on the list is Novavax. You watch this channel at all, you know we talk a lot about Novavax, but we didn't really do any kind of trades since the last video on Novavax. We're going to just kind of ride it out. We did have a green day yesterday, I believe it was. So let's go ahead and you see a 5-day chart here. So we did have a little green day yesterday, and of course it sold off a little bit today, but not too terrible. Just a little bit under 1%. That's not going to kill us. But check out the volume. There's no volume here whatsoever today. Not even the regular volume. So not really concerned about what happened today, but I like to see the fact that we held, pretty tight and no more falling like this. So that was good. As far as what the market did today, you can see that it was red across the board. Yet, Novavax held up pretty good. But you can see here, Novavax chart looks kind of like this NASDAQ chart up here. You see this NASDAQ chart here. You see it started out a little green and just worked its way down. Novavax did pretty much the same thing. So we can see it's probably following that NASDAQ now. It does trade on the NASDAQ. See here, it trades on the NASDAQ. So if it's just following the NASDAQ, that's not going to kill us necessarily. But if it's following news like we had this week about the pill coming out for treatments and things like that, that's what gets it in trouble. But I believe it's going to be okay. Again, we're still waiting on news about an approval, and we got to get those approvals. The first approval is probably going to get us back over that 200 range, I would think. Hopefully, at least that, and if not, much, much more. I think we're sitting right now at a share price average of somewhere around 230. So it looks like we're a long ways off, and we are a long ways off, but you can see what this thing's done in the past. This was just May 13th, and you can see where it went from there, from 121 all the way up to 209, just like that. Over here, we're down here around 182. and it shot all the way up to here, 270. So it doesn't take long for it to move if it gets any kind of momentum going. And you can see the volume, how high the volume was there. So we're going to see here, we do see this huge spike right here after it had fallen that much last couple of days. So that huge volume, somebody came in and scooped those shares up, I believe, because the big boys don't wait for them to sell way down here. They would be selling up here somewhere. If they had any loss of confidence in something, they'll sell way up here. They're not the ones that's going to sell down here after it's fallen this much. So this is just probably people that have just got fed up with it, and there's probably a lot of people like that. I know people that's got fed up with it, but that's how they get your shares also. So don't let them do it. I really think that's going to be okay, but I can't give you any kind of financial advice. I can just tell you what I've got my money in, and that's one of them I keep my money in as it trades, and the news is right around the corner. That's a good one to have some money in. All right, Tilray. Tilray was down today. I think Tilray, let's check how it did for the week. Not too terrible, but it was down. It had a pretty rough couple of days, it looks like. So, yeah, that's a pretty good little fall there. I think they did have some earnings. I think they just had some earnings or something the other day. I thought I saw something like that. Yeah, mixed Q1 results. So whatever went on there, probably not the best, as you can see here. That's why you don't buy things right near earnings, because if something's not done quite right, it's going to do stuff like this. So, of course, it goes the opposite way sometimes too. But we got some shares there. We've had them for a while. Bought in a real high price on those, so I'm not even worried about it right now. We won't be getting even on that one anytime soon. And Nikola, and some of them, some of these things, when that happens to you, you just got to write it off for a while, not worry about it. Unless you need the cash, then you got to make a decision. If you're going to need the cash to trade with, then you got to make a decision on which one of these losers are you going to sell. And I've got several losers we're holding, and we'll just hold them until they turn around. And it could take a month, could take a year, could take 2 years or longer, and they may never. You never know. And this is one of those as well. Nikola, let's see what it did this week. Okay, it's had a pretty good week. Down here at 10, almost 1068, got up to close to 11, it looks like. Yeah, very close to 11, so it didn't have a terrible week. I thought I saw some decent news on it. So Link's hydrogen production deal with Canada's TC Energy. So they are trying to make some electric vehicles as well as hydrogen cell vehicles and things like that. So watch out for them. I don't think they're dead yet, and they may make a good comeback. If you want to see what a 6-month chart looks like, they were way up here at one time. Let's go and look at it 1 year, and they were way up here at 27.93. So they've come a long way down. You can see this, but they've been holding pretty steady right here. They're going to have some real news, some real production, things like that to get them moving again. This was all hype. All this stuff was hype, okay? And this is what hype does to you for a while. But after a while, then people get tired of hype and they want to see the real deal. And that's what happens when you don't see the real deal. You're going to get down here and you're going to just hug that bottom for a while. Okay, so we just got to be patient. Hopefully they'll get some real news and some real stuff. But look at the volume. There's nobody involved here. It's just half the volume is normal. So that's what happens. So that's kind of how we ended up the week. Again, down for the portfolio. Did have a decent week for the trading as far as what we sold, and was able to make up for those high-priced Novavax shares that we sold. And you can imagine if we're sitting there at a 230 something price range, those were probably 250, 260 shares. Okay, so but that's what we do sometimes. I mean, we'll get in too early. We'll start buying as it pulls back, thinking maybe you can get a quick trade out of it, and you end up not getting a quick trade, and you start adding all the way down, and then you build your share count out. And in our case this time, what has happened to us is the the stock price has just continued to fall unexpectedly. I never would have thought it got back down to that level, but it doesn't really mean anything. I mean, the only time you lose money is when you sell your shares, and of course we did lose a little bit selling them, but we've made a lot off of it this year, so we're ahead of the game. We're playing with the house's money, so doesn't feel like the house's money once you get it in your account. But so you got to think about things like that when you're doing certain things with your stocks. But next week we'll keep an eye on that. Still going to be keeping an eye out for that news to come out. Watch Bitcoin, the price of Bitcoin. It's been hovering between 53, 55. It actually got up to about 56 the other day, I think, but 53 to 55. Hopefully this weekend it'll pull up. It's been doing pretty good on the weekend here lately, I think. And so we're going to watch it this weekend, see what it does while the markets are closed. But it may tick up, and we may have a good day for that HUT 8. MSTR we don't have, so we'll just have to count on the HUT 8 if it's a Bitcoin week. I'd soon see the Novavax turn around a little bit and head in the right direction, because every day that does good, our portfolio does good. So again, we're almost 50% cash. We're 46.65% cash. So we don't have a lot of money in a lot of different stocks. Just a few stocks that we got. You see them there on the portfolio. I've actually got a few that we've never discussed that I've had prior to starting the channel. So that can tell you how long you can hold some of these things sometime. The channel's been going for over a year. So I've got some stocks that I've had over a year, and they're in the red as well. But we've since made up for all their losses. But we just hang on to them. We haven't lost confidence in them yet. I'll give you just an example. One of those would be Lyft. Lyft has been doing halfway decent, but we bought it at the IPO, which is a bad experience most of the time, especially when it's getting high and you think it's going to keep running, and that's kind of what happened to me on that. So I don't suggest you buy anything on IPO days. Just wait for a few weeks after an IPO, after all the hype's done. So if you watch the Coinbase stock that IPO not too long ago, you can see that first day or so, or first hour even, it run up, and then next thing you know, it's going down. But IPOs are dangerous. It's kind of like earnings, so don't do that. I've taken chances sometime with it, and most of the time it doesn't turn out good, and you have to end up holding those shares for a little while. Did it with Facebook years ago. That turned out all right, but it took a long time. So sometimes it just ties your money up. So, but anyway, I hope you had a good rest of your week in trading. Let's talk about where we're at as far as the portfolio goes. The Dow right now is up 13.53% for the year to date. NASDAQ up 16.91% year to date, and the S&P up 16.91%. NASDAQ up 13.12%. Last week we were beating all three of them. This week we're only beating two of the three. So hopefully next week we'll get back in charge and be over all three of them. But we're still having a pretty good year, and I'll take what we've got. And considering we're as far down as we are on Novavax, I think we're doing a fantastic job right now. Even though we did fall behind the S&P there. So, but we'll catch them. We'll catch them if Novavax comes through for us here pretty soon, which I think it will. All right, well, have a great day, and enjoy your trading next week. We'll get on here probably Monday night or Tuesday night, depending on how things go. If we have any activity Monday, we may get on here, tell you about that. But if not, it'll probably be Tuesday. Okay? Have a great week. And, hey, if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and click this button right here and go ahead and subscribe. Click that like button if you like the videos, and go ahead and comment if you've got a comment there that you'd like to bring up. That'd be awesome. Other than that, have a great rest of your weekend. Thanks.